All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Legend of the Galactic Heroes, episode 95. Mittermeier is going to the front lines and everything will be fine. Everything will be absolutely fine.
No tragedies shall occur for the rest of this show. I do declare.
Yep, even though this is the year of tragedy and we're still in it, it's not going to happen. Even though he took the two redheads with him, and one of those redheads in particular has a penchant for disaster on both. Yeah, both on his side and the enemy's side. You know, we'll see how this goes. But you know, we got some satisfying stuff with Lang. You know, getting arrested and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, now we just need Trunit to, you know, be also squished like the cockroach that he is, you know, because he's been arrested, but it's not quite far enough. No,
Yes,
not at all.
You know, I just realized, Jake,
What?
it's completely random, but it's really bad because Wallen already has one arm in the grave.
God damn it. No, see, that's just that just means he'll be fine, right? His prosthetic arm will, like, he'll get shot, but then his prosthetic arm will catch it, you know? It'll be like, oh, it's fine, you know. It'll be all good.
True. That's definitely what that means.
Yeah. There's it, because it will definitely be resolved by interpersonal combat, not ship to ship combat.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Oh, this was a great episode.
This was so good.
This was so good.
So good.
We have the build-up of all build-ups in that the twin stars will collide in glorious destruction. Mittermeier and Reuenthal are going at it. They've talked now, which I'm really glad happened. It wasn't a short conversation.
Nope.
It had meat to it. It had back and forth.
And everything I feel like was kind of
Essentially covered.
Essentially covered. Like there's no...
It could be more, but this is great.
It's the... if only the conversation had gone on longer, right? Mittermeier would have loved for it to have gone on longer. More things that he would have loved to say, but the cards are on the table, right? You
Reuenthal
know,
could
both
not
are all
tell
in.
him, though, that the reason why he's doing this is because he's also in the belief that he's fulfilling a great unspoken desire of Mein Kaiser.
Right. And I love that because it's it kind of communicates that one,
so tragic.
Reuenthal might not be sure within himself why he's doing this. Is it his ambition, or is it because he wants to fulfill the Kaiser's wish, right?
Yeah,
because if it was strictly the Kaiser's wish, right, it wasn't because of his own ambitions, then theoretically he doesn't need to do this, right? You know, like, because if the Kaiser doesn't want that anymore or something, you know, who knows, right?
Yep.
But he didn't say it.
Also, the idea that then millions will die because of this Reuenthal.
Yeah, it's the, like, oh man, that was...
Millions!
Like, you're drunk. I assure you I'm not drunk. You're drunk on a dream painted in blood.
Yeah, that was just... Mittermeier spoke with fire and truth. It was beautiful.
Because the one bit of me that's like hesitant with the whole idea of this fight is that Reuenthal is much more ruthless than Mittermeier, right? Like Mittermeier... We think. Mittermeier is, you know, the good boy, right? But at the same time...
he's also the Gale Wolf.
But he's also the Gale Wolf. And we got to see that in this conversation. And that does so much, not just for my satisfaction, because it's entertaining, and you know, assuaging my fears of Mittermeier's death, right? Because that's kind of what will probably happen here. Reuenthal, if he really wants to go up against Reinhard, granted, theoretically he could take Mittermeier captive, but odds are that wouldn't happen, right? It's a big space battle.
But then his line of, we must all wake up from our dreams sometime.
And then he opens his eyes and looks at him.
What happens then?
Like, that look from Mittermeier gave me chills. Like, it was like, oh shit. Like that's the Gale Wolf. That's the look that'll make hardened men balk and be like,
wait a minute.
Hold on, like,
should we reconsider everything?
That's the reason when all the people, like all the soldiers and stuff, were like, well, Oberstein, you know, I don't know, and all this stuff and whatnot, and we're fighting to save,
fighting any
you know,
of them,
the Kaiser. We're fighting the Gale Wolf, and then suddenly,
And then one person goes, "That'll be a hell of a thing." Basically, like,
right.
whoa.
Yeah. They're like,
Oh.
huh.
Oh shit.
Real shit. Like, yeah.
And I love also the way in which Wallen and Bittenfeld are omitted, because essentially they're, going to be sub-commanders of their own respective fleets. But still, just the idea that at the top, it'll be Reuenthal and Mittermeier's strategy and tactical genius at play. But
I don't think I've ever been so like, one, I'm freaked out about the fight because of the implications and the damage to the characters and the world and all, not just the people present, but also people that aren't present, right? So much is at stake here, but also just the so like apprehensive, but also can't take my eyes away of whatever is going to go down here.
We are literally watching two massive freight trains approach each other
at high velocity and gaining speed.
Does not have an off
Nope,
ramp anymore.
There's no turns,
the points of no return before.
Right, exactly.
They're going to collide.
Yep. Like Reuenthal was coming up on that turn, and he's like, nope, presses that button, keep us going on this rail. And it's like, okay. God. So like, I can't remember the last time I felt this kind of like apprehension and trepidation, but then also like odd interest at a space battle. Like
I'm excited
in just stories in general.
Right.
Like
we have a couple little things though to cover that are very much like unique little character focuses. So Grillparzer is a character that we've had built up as the new kind of half of the twin stars, coming up with
Knapstein.
Yes, Knapstein, and they're both underneath Reuenthal. But the idea that in a lot of ways they're kind of the next Kierheis and Reinhard, actually. Not really the next Mittermeier and Reuenthal, if you think about it.
Well, that remains to be seen.
No, think about this. Grillparzer is extremely cunning here, because he has set himself up to win potentially no matter which way the fight goes. But given that Reinhard is the kind of person who could see right through that kind of bullshit, you know?
Yep, absolutely.
There's a very decent chance that even if he pulls off the most convincing, I was always on your side, Reinhardt kind of move.
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be based on, because the game that they're basically needing to play here is, how long do we go along with Reuenthal so that we'll get an opportunity to turn on him, right? And for it to actually be a surprise. Versus, how long are we with Reuenthal and what are we doing against the Kaiser? Right? Because the thing is that Reuenthal is also comfortable playing this game, I think, because, well, as long as I don't give them too much power, I shouldn't be worried.
Put them next to my flagship.
Right, exactly. But second of all, I need wins early for morale, so them giving me a benefit sooner rather than later could make it so that then, because if they're with me, if they pledge themselves to me, then the rest of the people will follow, because they're the new, they're the new twin stars for the next generation, right?
Yeah.
So them actually siding with him here could have huge negative consequences for the Empire, because even if they betray him later, well, what if they instead managed? Well, okay, no, Knapstein's arrested, so that's pretty easily taken care of. Yeah, him not going along with Reuenthal.
Like he's joining.
No, he's joining, but like originally, like he had just been arrested, and it's not like that caused a big commotion or whatever. It's just
he was essentially put under house arrest.
Right? Yeah.
I loved the way Grillparzer is taking this verbal lashing and is just calmly looking for bugs everywhere. He's like, I know what they were, what they would use, where they would use it, and I'm looking at all the areas. I'm being very thorough. He's going off and off and off, and then eventually he's like, do you really think I would do that? I'm like, this guy knows his friend so well to be able to convince him with something that could mean he ends up on either side, to where then Knapstein won't have a choice if Reuenthal just keeps winning. He'll have to be all in on this, and if Reuenthal loses because of a move by Grillparzer, he can be like, hey, Knapstein and I were in on this too. We vouch for each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's a very self-interested plan, and in some ways he's using Knapstein as a potential like like chess piece, like a very valuable
absolutely.
chess piece,
Yep.
but a very powerful potential chess piece later if he's basically staring down Reinhard, and Reinhard's saying, "Why shouldn't I execute you?" Basically, you know?
But at the same time, this is potentially the most effective strategy they could use to to go against Reuenthal, right?
Yeah.
Because Knapstein, great job. You know, you didn't go with Reuenthal. You're under house arrest. You do nothing to help the Kaiser either in this situation, right? You're CC'd forever. But if they each say get put in command of like, 3, 4, 5,000 ships. And then they both go rogue at the same time within the new land.
Yep.
That's huge.
That's huge.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Even if it's not in a battle, then suddenly Reuenthal, how does he actually, like, deal with, like, like his own forces being all committed to fighting Mittermeier?
It's terrible when you can't trust the people that are closest to you.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dai Li, arrest the Fire Nation princess.
But seeing these two, ones that could outlast the whole conflict, say Reuenthal and or Mittermeier does die, and it's more of just the chaos of this whole fallout.
Yeah.
You could have Grillparzer and Knapstein being in powerful enough positions where they go, stand down, rest of the fleet.
Yep.
We surrender before Mein Kaiser, and then they submit themselves for judgment.
Right.
And it's a thing of where they go, okay, you guys were admirals before, but we need new fleet admirals to replace the ones that we lost.
And then depending on what they do, because the thing is that they're completely outside of the chain of command here, right?
Yeah.
Like, because of course they are. They ended up getting put under Reuenthal. Reuenthal rebels. What do? Right? They could do the Knapstein thing, and then they'd be, completely without any potential fault in Reinhardt's eyes.
But they don't stop those ships that they
but they don't
from
stop
going into
exactly
Reuenthal's fleet.
Yeah. So now in this situation, this is a thing that is potentially hugely helpful to Reinhard, right? But I know that word, ridiculously helpful, vastly helpful, right? This could decide the revolution, right? Because if suddenly they turn on Reuenthal and they either take him out or they make a demonstration that causes the other people in Reuenthal's fleet to be like, you know what? Yeah, we're not going along with you. That could be all it takes, right? And then that could save countless lives, right?
So many. Yeah.
But this could also be the thing of, them just choosing the winning side.
And they kind of fulfill the role in the story side of things to show the different responses that people in the New Land Empire kind of respond. One, with Elsheimer, which I love the way in which he basically goes and says, no, as an official and as a citizen, I have many problems with the way you're handling this, not just in the fact that you are potentially an open revolt, but in what you are ignoring by the fact that you effectively murdered my brother-in-law.
Right.
Lutz.
And
how
you're
are
not
you going
taking
to take
responsibility
responsibility
for
for that? Yeah, exactly. And he goes, that's fair. You know what? I'm going to write a letter specifically to Mittermeier saying that you abstained from this whole thing and took no part in it. Cool. I really like the way Reuenthal then looks at this and goes, wait a minute. Am I planning to lose? Why would I?
That doesn't sound like me.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like me. And the way he looks at himself in the reflection, he goes, how unmanageable I am. Like, like the way he just kind of gets this little I am so chaotic. I love this.
Different eye color and, different sides to himself.
I just really loved that bit because we saw a way another character that's high up in Reuenthal's power structure basically says, how will I, respond to your your actions here.
Right.
But then the way it affects Reuenthal directly is pretty cool.
And I love the dynamic of it being not someone that's in a military position where you can just put someone else in a military position, but he's in a civil position. That's a lot harder to replace because, the quality can go down a lot more easily, right? So it's keep doing your job.
Yeah.
Right? Just make sure that you don't do anything against me and we're kosher, right? We're good. But, the amount of respect given to people on all sides of the conflict, because there were a lot of scenes in this episode, was just
really
it was
good.
so fun to watch.
It makes everything feel classy and mature.
But
speaking of classy and mature, Bittenfeld calling out Wallen and being like, hey, We're professionals here.
Yeah, you don't-
If anything, we shouldn't consider his personal feelings.
Right, because he's professional.
Because he's professional. We don't want to belittle him or condescend to him that he won't be able to
coddle
do this.
him or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked that because I feel like that is foreshadowing and setup for the battle.
Oh.
In that Wallen might have, if this conversation wouldn't have been had, taken it easy on maybe not going for the throat.
Yeah. Sure.
And maybe if he's, presented an opportunity to kill Reuenthal, he'd be like, no, I don't want to do that. That's not my thing to do.
I don't want to kill
And
Mittermeier's
Bittenfeld
friend
would be
or
like,
something.
fuck that!
Yeah.
Kill Reuenthal!
Sink your teeth in and taste the blood. You know?
I actually feel like the Black Lancers are going to be the clutch victors.
I hope so. Because
battle.
Bittenfeld has had so many times where he's
he kind of like...
He's tripped on his own dick.
Well,
but
the thing is that he usually trips and then immediately gets back up and does something awesome.
Right.
So it's this weird thing where he kind of nets a zero.
Right.
Because...
He's the chaos factor, and that's why Reinhardt keeps him in reserve, because he wants things to be predictable, Right. But in this situation, it's like, I feel like I really want Bittenfeld to just get that chance to give the old 1-2 and like...
I really think what would be fun to see is a Bittenfeld full, flank, extremely strong maneuver from, I assume he would be on, the left or the right flank, basically, of Mittermeier's fleet. And they're going to have some moment there where they'll have a classic, adjust in, adjust out.
Sure.
To see if one of the fleets
exposes
testing
themselves. Defenses
and Bittenfeld basically is just told, Bittenfeld, you're going to wait. Okay. But no. When you see this position of their fleet, go all in. Go everything. Put everything in. And he's like, really? And I just want that to be the moment where Bittenfeld actually just raw dicks his way through the whole thing. Just completely just tears it all apart. And the freaky thing is that I could see him also losing his life in this battle.
Sure.
Of all the admirals in this fight, the one that I expect most to die actually is Bittenfeld.
I don't know, because Bittenfeld has that kind of magical survivor,
the gods and the fates protect fools,
Right,
It's Krea's line about there's a special entity that protects fools like that. Yeah.
Right. Because I feel like Bittenfeld's life is a life of being cucked, right?
No, he's a tactical, brilliant admiral.
No, hold on. No, yeah, no, he totally is. But
and he has a lot of victories.
No, absolutely. But his ultimate goal is to thrust forward and
oh my God,
and destroy the enemy, right? But then also, what?
Look at the notes for him. The two big moments that he had were because of fights against Bucock specifically. Two different fights against Bucock, where he basically outcocked the big cock.
Big cock, yeah. Because it was an old cock,
Ah, yes.
But the thing is that
keep up, yes.
The one thing that I think that Bittenfeld would like more than overwhelming, crushing victory is that if he's ever in a situation where he is not going to be able to bring victory, to go out in a blaze of glory that helps other people attain victory. Sure. Yeah. And I feel like his eternal curse is to not let that happen.
Yeah. Okay, the Mueller moment.
Yeah.
Because this was really powerful. The way in which Mueller refused the title of Fleet Admiral.
Yep.
But set himself up in such a way to where he's like, it's not just that I want to honor Lutz. I have something else I really want.
Yep.
And I know that you don't want to do this.
Right.
But I think the only way I can even convince you is by turning down something this big. So you know how serious this is for me. But the way in which they had the line of, he deeply regretted that Hilda couldn't come along this time. Just the way in which Mueller was like, oh my God, if only Hilda was here. Yep. Or it was, I wish Fräulein Mariendorf were here at a time like this.
Yeah.
Because she would have offered a third person insight into this that he would have listened to. And I love that right alongside him here is Eisenach, who can't say anything about this because he's like, it's not my place. But you could definitely tell there's that feeling of
it was intentional composure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say something, but I can't.
Yep.
I mean, he is the silent admiral, so him
That's
speaking
true.
up would be a bit odd in general.
Mhm.
But just
I mean, he could, you know,
he
like
could, you know,
Yeah,
something
right.
like that. Yeah.
Nardo sign, you know, like
Murai showing up again.
that was awesome.
This was just glorious fan service. Thank you
Mhm.
so much. And the
And-
way he's like, no, I can't say.
Yep.
And I thought I might have to convince you, Julian, but
I'm
no,
sorry.
I'm sorry I ever doubted you.
Yep. Uh-huh.
And I can't believe we doubted Julian and thought he would take the offer.
Yeah, no.
I can't believe we
Right.
even thought that. Like,
because I was hoping that he wouldn't take the offer, but there was that part of me that, like Murai, was like, wait, what if he did?
he could be a schemy little bitch here.
Right. Well, and he even mentioned the thing of like, you know, it would be cool if we could just get Trunit and then let the Kaiser's forces through, you know.
And the comedy of
Oh God, that was great. Like
Shunkov just being like, "Oh man, just let me go back. I'll sneak
Right.
in. I'll hide under his bunk or something."
Right. It still irks me that I got onto his ship and I didn't kill him that one time. So, you know.
Yeah. Shunkov is just, you know, he literally has the same moment as Reuenthal in a comedic way rather than a sad and serious way. And then it's like, go home, Shunkov. You're drunk. I'm completely sober. No, you're drunk on dreams of blood. You're drunk on dreams stained with blood. You are not going to make it all the way there. You're not invincible.
Right.
You don't have 1,000 of your special forces ex-imperial commandos with you.
Rosenritter. Yeah.
Yeah, the Rosenritter. Yeah. No, you are one man. And although I love the image in my mind of you with a tomahawk and Reuenthal's head and then Trunit's head under your foot, that's badass as fuck. But,
Right.
But no.
The news would eat it up. You know? You'd get plenty of clicks and you'd get laid a lot, but
Yes.
no.
But no. Oh, man. But if Mecklinger shows up and says, we need to go through.
And Julian already knows the
Julian
decision.
already knows his answer.
He's gonna
Would
request.
the natural response be one of three things? No. Just no. 2, yes, plus conditions. Or 3, absolutely. Just we are faithful and we are loyal and we are not interested in any part of this conflict.
I think it's going.
I feel like it has to be yes, but conditions, right?
No, and I think the condition is going to be Constitution. Like because they were like, what would be it was set up, you know, several episodes ago of, you know, what if we could get the Empire to get a Constitution? But how do we convince them? What kind of bargaining chips do we have?
Right. But I don't think they'll go straight to that. I feel like they have to do something where it's like, we want you to reform, not like in a constitution way, but we want you to reform the government and have elected officials.
I think that might be more than they like. I think Constitution would be easier.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because then it's something where
who decides what's written on the Constitution, Jacob?
well, Reinhardt maybe, but the thing
still,
is
that's not.
No. But the thing is, I don't think they need to. I don't think it necessarily matters as much what's on the Constitution,
But the fact that it's immortal because it goes beyond someone's lifetime.
Yes, because Reinhardt is a good enough ruler that if he was going to make a constitution, he would make it a good one, right? But the point is that it's the action of the dictator saying that there is something that I'm going to put in power above myself that is not a person, because I will still be the singular ruler of this empire. But I'm going to put an ideal above myself, because right now Reinhardt has been the ideal. He's the golden god. He's the mythic figure, right?
Yeah,
you know,
like that's not working.
but it's not working. He is human. He has his limits. So
he's
him acknowledging that
he's dealing with,
right, exactly. So him acknowledging that enough to basically draft up something that he says, this is also what I will hold myself to. That would be huge.
Okay, I could see that. I could see him also just being like, we desire to have Mariendorf. Not Mariendorf, brain fart. What is Greenhill?
Yeah.
Frederica.
Well,
we desire
Mrs.
to have,
Yang, yeah.
Yeah. We desire to have Frederica Greenhill, Frederica Yang, yes, be given like a high position of civil authority within the empire.
That would be pretty awesome.
Like, I feel like that's the actually much easier thing than a constitution.
Sure.
Because a constitution, I think, goes against some aspects of Reinhardt's principles.
Yeah.
But
she might be able to push for a constitution.
I think she might be able to push for something like that if she was given high civil authority, like in the empire, not like in this area of the empire, but like
Yeah, that would be pretty crazy. Yeah.
They could also just make the same deal of just like, oh, no, we can't give you any of that, but we will give you the, the Free Planets Alliance original systems.
Oh, yeah,
I don't just give you all that space.
That if Reinhardt actually gave them territory, I would be very surprised.
Well, I could see him giving them territory that they then would be able to go to, but they would still be a part of the Empire,
Sure.
But
yeah,
I think the Constitution though could be brought up in the discussions.
That's what I'm.
I also feel like Mecklinger showing up with 11,000 ships, even though he's not going to bring them all into the corridor.
Right. Yeah.
There's kind of this also thing of where he's like, I don't have time. I am a very diplomatic man, but I also have orders.
Right.
So you have an hour to decide. Like
Sure.
he's going to be the one setting the terms, essentially.
Right. Because right. It's that whole thing of, since they have basically no ships, right, at Iserlohn.
Yeah,
right?
like a few hundred. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Like they have enough to maybe provide some slight harrying
anti-boarding party stuff.
Right, anti-boarding party stuff, pretty much.
Yeah, probably.
So that way they can keep using the Thor's hammer. But like that's probably all they have.
That's probably all.
Right.
They have,
so Mecklinger would be able to take Iserlohn, but the thing
and
is,
you'd probably lose about 3,000 ships or so.
right, which is to be fair,
a lot of.
That's
ships.
a lot of ships,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You don't want to lose that if you don't
when
have
you
to.
could probably just give up one promise, essentially.
Yeah.
And
right,
then
exactly.
You lose
And
nothing, and you go straight on through.
Well, and even more importantly, then you could potentially save time, because if you're able to go through unabated, right, and with full force, Reuenthal would not be able to handle a fleet of 11,000 ships or whatever coming in to the new land from behind, right? Like that would not work.
No.
So
No, not at all.
yeah. The one other thing that I would love to see potentially before we get into like the full-on space battle with Mittermeier and Reuenthal, is I would love to see something of Mittermeier and Reuenthal both potentially being like, okay, we're going up against each other. Them thinking maybe beforehand, what kind of tactics are they probably going to use? What can I count on? Like if there was something that we got of that before the battle happened, so that way we could like kind of know a bit what to expect and then see how they get surprised by each other and things like that. That's something, it doesn't have to happen by any means, but that's just a little something I'd love to see.
Little thing I want to say before we end this, I loved Katarose von Kreuzer's little exchange with Julian.
Yeah.
Because it took me like a little bit of time to actually ascertain what she was saying and not saying. But like taking the whole kind of sun of her
right.
aspect there of like, I'm not saying that,
Right.
What she actually said was, unfortunately, you're right. You made the right decision.
Yep.
And yeah, I get it. We shouldn't get wrapped up in this conflict. But I wish you would be confident in your decision.
Right.
And then he's like, oh, thanks for your concern. And she's like, what? And she gets all like frustrated. And she's like, no, that's not the point. I'm just saying you should have a spine. Like,
right.
Like they deserve a leader with a spine. And he's like, I'm not saying you don't have a spine though. Like, just be confident.
Yeah.
Like you made the right decision. She's like, you're a great leader.
Right. One of the other things that
I just love it because
that was excellent. One of the other things that I liked that was kind of fun is that when she comes in and is like going to talk to Julian, she mentions that other people had told her that this was something that they basically couldn't help Julian with, that their advice, other people's words, that wasn't going to help here. But then she still comes to talk to him.
Yes.
Which is basically her acknowledging in her own mind that she does not see her relationship with Julian as being the same as that of the other subordinates.
Sure. Interesting. Wonder why that is.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I have to say, the narrator setting up some of the stakes even more for how the fight will go down from a tactics standpoint, because strategies need to be implemented.
Yes.
One, the morale of the fleets is very important here.
Oh, yeah.
Both fleets could have low morale because it's civil war.
Right.
But specifically, Reuenthal's could have lower morale because they might not know why they're doing this. Now, Reuenthal's told them why, but they might not be sure about that why being the real reason why. Second, the idea that Reuenthal doesn't have a good number 2. We know Mittermeier has some fantastic, not only number 2s, but number 3 and 4 and 5. And then he literally has fleet admirals, not fleet admirals, but high admirals, the regular admirals and stuff, Bittenfeld and Wallen, also to help, break things down.
And even past him is Reinhard.
Yeah. But if we go down the list with Reuenthal, we then get into Grillparzer, Knapstein, people that already are thinking about ways in which they can serve their own self-interest in the future. But then you get, Bergengruen. He's not bad.
But he also said, don't do this.
Yep. He's not, I would say, he's not, how would I say this?
He doesn't
put it in the positive. He is 100% loyal to Reuenthal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
there's a but.
Yeah, there is a but about, I would say, the long term of this. What he has promised to Reuenthal is that he would basically plead his life in exchange for Reuenthal's. Like, if it came down to that.
Yeah.
Like, if it came down to him and Reuenthal looking at Mein Kaiser.
Right. Yeah. He
would absolutely throw his head onto the block first to save Reuenthal.
Yep.
That's not the same, though, as committing to go all the way.
Exactly. Yep.
So I'm very much worried for Reuenthal in that he might have a fantastic and even greater strategic mind than Mittermeier, but won't be able to utilize his fleet to the fullest, and thus things end up falling apart on his end in the longer way. The longer the fight goes on, is what I'm trying to say.
Especially if people end up saying, you know what, I'm not going to side with you, and then he ends up needing to arrest people that are very competent. Then, you could have replacements, but the replacements won't necessarily be as good.
Yeah.
And then if, things start to move slower, right? We saw how that worked with Reinhard when he was going up against Yang, right? Because he had sent a lot of his other admirals and best people to other fleets to help control and maintain his empire. When it came down to the actual ship-to-ship combat, it ended up being sloppy and falling behind, being a little bit slow, and that difference will decide battles.
True.
So.
I could also see this being the first of a few engagements with Mittermeier and Reuenthal, in that this could be a very, very slow battle of attrition where they know each other so well that neither falls for the tricks, and it means that the battle takes a very long time to the point that it's actually multiple battles. Like, they need to engage, pull
disengage,
back,
re-engage.
Yep, and it's a constant thing of that. And then in the endurance test, Mecklinger might eventually join the fight and be that, hammer that comes in and breaks the stalemate.
Well, and also, drawing a battle out generally favors the side with more, numbers, right? And then on top of that,
I would say Reuenthal is pretty close in numbers, though.
Yeah,
I believe he had about 35,000 ships. So
I think it was 33, and then it was 42 or something like that. There was a difference of 9,000 ships.
Okay, yeah, I think it's really close in that regard, and I would say that's almost nothing.
Right, it's not any kind of multiple, but still 25% difference. That's a big difference. That is
in the terms of history, though.
Right, that totally doesn't have to sway things.
It doesn't sway things on the tactics level.
Sure,
it sways things more on the strategic level.
And the thing that I'm really curious to see is that usually, the people that Reuenthal are up against, they're known for being fast and powerful. Fast and powerful. In order to do that, you need to have really good coordination, at the very least within your own fleet. Now, within the interaction of those fleets, that's where Bittenfeld has caused some trouble in the past, right?
And also Reuenthal knows probably everything about Mittermeier's strategy.
Right, absolutely. But the only issue where I could see Mittermeier's forces having an issue is the way the three fleets coordinate, not with regards to how the fleets behave as single units. And
yes.
Reuenthal totally,
will have that problem,
guaranteed will have that problem
eventually.
Yeah. So
okay. we're set.
Here we go.
The stage is going to be filled now.
Yeah.
So y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. You can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
Next time.